they have to hang on to him, I think, because they can't afford to sack him and they can't afford to hire a new manager. That's my own personal opinion. But just your own thoughts. Going to be, should they, at base we're going to finish third, maybe even fourth, but should they just maybe let him go now and pay him off and get a new a manager in, even temporary managers, to see out the campaign and get ready for the next campaign, or do you think they'll let him go to the end of the campaign?
Well, I think if it's down to financially, they'll probably hang on to Stephen Kenny, let him take over the team till November. They have 2 games in October and one qualifier away to Netherlands. I think for some strange reason there's a friendly, because Ireland actually finished up their matches before the rest of the other teams in the group. Yeah. So I think they've got a friendly against New Zealand a couple of days after the Netherlands away game.
I hope that's not the New Zealand rugby team now, is it? Or
it's just financially now they probably will hang on to him. I think the FAI, certainly certain members of the board maybe who mightn't be definitely not supportive of Kenny, will say, look, let's just end this now. We've a very small, slim chance of getting a Nations League playoff. The results still aren't going our way, Paul, to be honest with you. We need a few teams to qualify.
But it's a complicated one,
it's very hard to understand.
An outside chance.
Very outside chance, but the results aren't going for us. We need something like Wales, Israel, and Poland to qualify, and all 3 of them are either third or fourth in their group. They're not first or second in it, so all the results are going all bad.
Yeah.
So let's just say that we don't get a Nations League playoff, which looks very likely now. So what will the FAI do? I think the pressure will come on the FAI now, really, to be quite honest with you. I know financially, like you said, maybe they can't afford to sack him, but I think the pressure now will get so great now that they will either sack him in a couple of days' time, when everything's cooled off, or they'll just let him go once the Netherlands and the New Zealand game is done and dusted. I think they might do a deal where he's contracted into June 2024, but with no Euros, they might just do a deal with Stephen, mutual consent they call it, just pay him up until maybe the New Zealand game, and then say, look, we want to go a different path. And I think if Kenny doesn't feel he has the back, and I think he will agree to that. So it's the beginning of the end, Paul, to be honest with you. I can't see him. He's not going to get a new contract. Definitely not. I mean, I was watching on TV last night. They were saying there's not a hope that the FAI are going to give him a new contract, particularly if we don't qualify for the Euros. And that's as I said, that's looking likely now with the league, Nations League playoff. Looking like that's doors closed as well. So
sorry, Noel. There's also another financial thing, and it seems the FAI, and I don't fully understand this, but I just came across it, that they're selling tickets already for next year, or they'll be selling them, but it seems for home matches, they sell them in blocks of 2 and 3 tickets together. If you want to buy them, you have to buy 3 together going forward this year. And that could be the financial thing too, that if Ireland continues to go bad and the next match they lose to home to Greece, the people won't buy the tickets for the games next year with that. And that could be another financial thing that the FAI will be looking at, that they're trying to make money by selling tickets ahead of time, but I think they sell them in blocks of 2 or 3 or something like that. And that could be another financial down the road with that. Are you talking that?
Yeah, the FAI always seems to be in a mess financially, Paul. From my time of supporting Ireland, my time watching Ireland, there's always something financially sort of gone wrong in the FAI. I think a big thing, if Kenny does stay to the end of the campaign, a big thing that we'll have to look out for is the crowd that'll go up to the Greece game. The campaign is as good as over. It'll be pretty much a dead rubber. Basically, Ireland can only get into the Euros based on other results that they can't control nothing now. It's out of their hands completely now. So the crowd that'll turn up for the Greece game might tell a lot if Stephen Kenny is still in charge. And then also the performance as well. Or maybe the pressure will be off. The fact that they can't qualify now through the group, they might release a few players, but at the end of the day, like what on television that they've all said, this team just cannot get results when it matters. In the past, the Scotland game in the Nations League, that was a game where it was like a rescue mission to get into contention again for the Nations League group. But all the time now, in all the campaigns, we've always started badly. I totally accept that France and Holland, it was a nightmare draw. It was a terrible draw. But I think whatever happens in the future, Paul, the one thing we have to start taking seriously and probably really, really go for it is in the Nations League. We are getting terrible groups getting put into pot 3, or maybe how bad now we're going now. If we do badly again in the Nations League, next time before the World Cup, we could be in pot 4. We get a nightmare draw completely altogether. We really need to go for now in the Nations League because we were seeded third, and the reason why France were seeded second, is France I think got maybe even relegated from the Nations League group. I'm up to the correction on that, but they had a bad Nations League. That's why they were in pot 2. And the reason why Netherlands were in pot 1 was because they had a good Nations League. So we really need to start focusing on performing well now in the Nations League, because if we don't, we're going to get a nightmare draw every time. We could have, we got France and Holland in our group, but we could easily have gotten England initially as well, because that was the group that Ukraine, who were in the group with us in the Nations League, got. So, and they're actually doing quite well actually. But we really need, whoever the manager is, which I doubt it'll be Stephen Kenny, but this time next year when the Nations League games come around, for the FAI, for their own peace of mind, to really need to maybe even win a League B in one of those Nation League groups, because it'll give us a better route to the World Cup. Because next time, Paul, the next qualifying campaign, don't forget, first place only gets you into the World Cup, second place only gets you a playoff, third place is nothing.
Yeah.
So we really need to get into the second seeds in the group, and we have to really call a spade a spade. We have to go for the Nations League, try and win that group that we're in League B. We'll be playing teams that are similar standard. We won't be playing like.
I understand that's a good point to make too. But looking forward, if Stephen Kinney is either relieved of his position or if he stays on for the three competitive games and the November finish the contract, who are you going to get to replace him? People are saying replace him, but are you just going to come in with a temporary manager? Like, they're talking about Lee Carsley, but Lee Carsley is the English youth manager that won the European Championship under 21, whatever it's He's not going to leave, even though he's a former Irish international. He's not going to leave that. Because down the road, if he stays in that system, he'll be probably become the English manager. So no, he wants to he get a top English club. He's not going to come to the FAI. There's not a hope in hell. If I was in his position, even if I had played 100 times for Ireland, he's a professional coach, now a professional manager. He's not going to come to the FAI, in my personal opinion. So who is he going to get there? You're talking maybe Neil Lennon. Is he out of a job at the moment? But will he go back? I don't know. He's doing a bit of media stuff, but who is he going to get? That's my opinion.
But yeah, there's the names been thrown. A few names been thrown around. Chris Hughton is in Ghana. I think he's doing quite a good job in Ghana. I think they're in the Africa Cup of Nations. He'll probably want to try and get Ghana to the World Cup. Lee Carsley, as you mentioned, Neil Lennon. I don't know. The big Sam's been linked with Ireland job a few times, but I think that's probably not a pet they're going to go down. Really, I suppose he might get us competitive like McCarthy, but I think he'll only take us so far as well. So, like, I remember even Didi Hamann saying there'll be plenty of takers for Irish job. I very much doubt it. There might be one name I might throw out there, a man that's not in the line, not there at the moment, but his reputation has been hugely damaged by what happened to him lately. Was Graham Potter. He did a very good job with a Swedish club, Ostersunds, I think they were called. Did okay at Swansea, then gone into Brighton. He's good at a certain level. The Chelsea job was too big for him. But I think if the FA wants a progressive manager, a good manager that can probably be more tactically wise than Kinney is, and I can probably get better out of players or limited ability, because you couldn't get out the better players at Chelsea. But his reputation has been damaged. But I think if the FAI approached him, I think he'd be worth a shot at anyway, because at the moment it's not working out. Like, there's not going to be many takers, to be honest with you. I don't think so.
The only way you could take us if there was money on the table. A number of years ago, when Trapattoni came in, half his contract was paid by a prominent business, and I won't mention his name. He wasn't. I think at least half was paid. It wasn't by the FAI. That's the only way, in my opinion, you get a high-profile man, because they're all professionals. If the money's on the table, the FAI don't have the money. So unless a sugar daddy comes in, you might get a top manager, because they're all professionals. But if the money's right, of course they'll do it. But as you know, the FAI don't have excess money, so if they don't get a sugar daddy in, or some business sponsor, they can't even get a sponsor's name in the jersey. So I don't know how they get that. But look, Graham Potter maybe, but I don't know. Should they maybe as you say, go back to the Nations League and lower our expectations? And said the fans mightn't like it, but say, right, let's concentrate in the Nations League because you're playing teams around you at the same level and try and win a Nations League group. Maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it is, Paul. I think we're going to get we're going to keep getting like lumbered in with France and the Dutch if we don't improve our Nations League standing. I mean, the main reason why we're out of the running for a playoff is because we finished third in the playoff in the Nations League group. Ukraine finished a bit higher. I think Scotland won us. I think Ukraine came second and we came third. And we're on a wing and a prayer now and hoping and praying that we can get a Nations League group, but based on other results. But our chances are very, very slim. So it's a backup, Paul. It's not the be all and end all. But if we win a Nations League group, we're, I wouldn't say guaranteed a playoff, where you're going to have you're going to be 2 matches away then from the World Cup, even before you start your campaign for it.
Yeah.
So I think it's something we really, really going to have to try. Now, I don't understand a whole lot about the Nations League, but it's something we're really going to have to try and get hold of now, because we've been punished for poor Nations League groups in the past. This was a result of finishing third, just only barely ahead of Armenia, behind Scotland and Ukraine, and that's the reason why our seeding is so low. We have to get into pot 2 because we need to avoid those second place teams, because we're going to get harder and harder groups if we don't improve our Nations League performance for World Cups and Euros. The Euros is much easier to qualify for the World Cup, so that's why I would say we have to really go for the Nations League, do well in the Nations League, win the group. I think you have a better chance of getting a playoff and getting into the World Cup that way than doing in the group, because I can't see us finishing first. Definitely not first. I can't see us finishing second. Not a hope in a World Cup campaign based on the players we have at the moment.
Yeah, but no,
third at best seems to be the way we're at.
Yeah, the under-21s had a good winter, and I know it's not in the top 10,
Yeah.
but still, they're playing a bit in, I think it's Turkey to play with it, but anyway, the point
Turkey,
is,
yeah.
there seems to be good young players coming from what we can see, but unfortunately, they have to make their names at the club, or make them develop at the club in England, or whatever they're playing at the club level, and the manager has no control over that. But there seems to be the wheel seems to be turning, albeit very slowly. There's certain names starting to come through at underage, they're looking promising. They're getting a few caps now. So maybe we just have to, and we'll be trying to be positive, take the pain for the next couple of years. Take the pain for the next 2 campaigns maybe. But there is going to be, in my opinion, there seems to be good young players coming through. We're hoping that they will continue to develop. But maybe we just have to accept this for the next campaign maybe in 2 years and take the pain. And then these players hopefully will have come through the clubs and develop to the clubs. And then you will naturally improve your overall quality of your squad, the international team.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, Paul. I think I've said it a few times to people that I think the man that'll benefit most from Stephen Kenny's work is not Kenny himself, but the man that comes after him. I think he's got linked up with John Caulfield now, the 3-1 manager, and himself and Andrews, and there seems to be a progression now much better than it was before Stephen Kenny came into the job. But Stephen Kenny, he's not been able to buy time with the senior job by not getting good results to make that progression a little bit better. And Andrew Moran, as you mentioned, under 3-1, still had a great win against Turkey, a 3-2 win. He's got a fantastic goal. He's a Brighton player. He's on loan at Blackburn Rovers. He looks a very good prospect. So he's going to be someone now that's going to be reckoned the senior side, you hope, in this couple of years. There are some very good young players coming through. There's some very good players in the team at the moment at senior level. But unfortunately, I feel Stephen can get him into the team and he can improve him, but he just can't get him, it seems, to that next level. And unfortunately, like the way things are going, the FAI, I think it's the beginning of the end. This time for the next campaign, Stephen Kenny won't be in charge. I think that's pretty much certain now, and it's